the case for environmental management systems. An environmental management system seeks to ensure that the organisation's impact on the environment is known, managed, and where possible reduced. Impacts are likely to arise from a variety of activities as shown. An environmental management system is your organisation's book of best environmental practice, and ideally it would be integrated with any other standards and systems you also hold. And whilst these days it's usually made available to staff electronically, some companies still like to hold a hard copy. All management systems are interested in planning and objective setting, how information is passed around, who is responsible for what, and how and where information is recorded and stored. Crucially, it's also interested in how environmental activities and processes are improved in order to reduce the organisation's environmental impact. So, let's start with the planning. All organisations will have things they want to do, and these will often affect the way in which the work is done. That is, the activities or processes undertaken. An environmental management system asks you to consider the environmental impact of these plans and of your current processes. All organisations will also undertake processes or activities. In very basic terms, usually we break this down into 3 processes: get job, do job, build job. So what would an environmental management system cover? For a robust management system, there are 2 key activities. Business as usual processes or activities might start with the receipt of inquiry, pass through the delivery of the product or service provided, and finish with the sending of the invoice and getting paid. And each of these activities has, to a greater or lesser extent, an impact on the environment. You might have sales reps driving around consuming fuel. You might have engineers or staff in the field consuming fuel. You certainly will have staff in an office requiring heating and lighting. You may have production facilities. You need to assess the environmental impact of each. There are inputs and outputs to any processes that you want and need, but there are other inputs and outputs that can sometimes be reduced. The use of energy and water, for instance. There are also outputs to air, water, land and waste that also need to be considered and, where possible, reduced. But a robust environmental management system also requires a series of improvement and activities designed to ensure you learn from your problems and mistakes. This might include accidents and incidents, what the standard would call a non-conformance, audits, a formal review of the effectiveness of your systems. Essentially, these processes are designed to help you improve the way in which your work works. So how do you get there? The first stage is to identify the environmental impacts of your processes. The second is to establish any legal requirements that you might need to comply with. You can then begin to document your system. Having undertaken the first 2 of the above stages, you have undertaken the environmental review. After establishing where the most significant impacts are, you can begin to set policy. That is what your intentions are to reduce the significant aspects. The next stage is to turn your intentions into actions, which would be developed as programs or action plans detailing what is to be achieved by whom and by when. The final stage would be to audit and review the progress against the milestones you set yourself. Once you're ready, there are a number of well-known certification agencies, each of whom undertake a whole raft of management system certification work. These agencies include BSI, NQA, LRQA, DNV, to name but a few. And to be legitimate, in the UK they will need to be UCAS approved. Getting assessed is a 2-stage process. The document or system review, a check to see that the system covers the elements of the standard. The operational review, to check that you are working as your system suggests. These stages are typically 6 to 8 weeks apart, and inevitably there are usually some issues to address. But the most usual outcome is recommended for registration, which means there are minor things to be fixed before the certificate is awarded. You then celebrate the registration and all the hard work that has been undertaken, not forgetting that at one assessment some time ago, one assessor remarks, "The 100-yard dash is over. Let the marathon begin." The benefits of a robust environmental management system are many and varied, but include demonstrable compliance and legislation, reduced waste, improved efficiency, improved public image, a reduction of pollution. It's also a very useful marketing tool that often opens doors which would remain otherwise closed. Essentially, it is seen by many as a green passport to success. There have been a number of studies into the results of management systems, undertaken by organisations like Manchester Business School, Mori and others, all conclude with similar results, these being taken from a study by Aspects International. Statius can be viewed as your driving instructor, will assist you all the way up to and past your driving test with any UCAS approved driving examiner. At Statius we can help. We can be viewed as your driving instructor. We work with you to develop simple user-friendly systems. We use terminology and language, not the standards. We make the standard fit your business. Let Statius help you realise the benefits of a robust management system. Have a look at our website on www.statius.co.uk or call us on 020 8460 3345. We'd love to have a chat.